hope that is straight. And I'm back for the second time because sad Mac and all. Hi everybody, we're making soup today. Why soup, you may ask? Well, mostly because it is a winter in Canberra and soup is always a good idea when it is cold outside, but also because I'm very lazy today and I am mothering / parenting today. So soup it is. Let's chuck this on, shall we? We also have an audience member today, the little one's with me. So if you hear some sound effects, that will be him. For today's soup, you're going to need an eggplant and a pumpkin. So we're going to start off by preheating our oven to 180 degrees Celsius, and then we're going to get into the good stuff, which includes taking the pumpkin out of its packaging. And yeah, you got to use your muscles here. We're going to peel and de-seed it. We're going to continue using our wonderful muscles to chop the pumpkin. Once you've de-seeded and peeled your pumpkin, we're just going to cut her up into cubes and chuck those cubes into a bowl. Couldn't have said it better myself. Here we are, chopping away at our pumpkin. Let's get started on our eggplant now, and similar to the pumpkin, we're going to cut off the skin, chop her up nicely and chuck her into the bowl. Remember that everything's going to get blended at the end of this recipe, so the eggplant can be super roughly chopped. We're also going to add half an onion roughly chopped into the bowl. In goes a very decent drizzle of olive or avocado oil, obviously a pinch of salt. I've also added some smoked paprika and dried oregano, and I'm going to go in with the San Elk veggie stock, which is one of my favorite things to put on veggies before I roast them. Okay, so what we want to do with these veggies now is roast them for about half an hour. If you didn't catch that, it's roast the veggies for about half an hour. So I'm going to put some baking paper on here, and then I'm going to chuck those into the preheated oven. So the best thing about this soup is that really you could add any kind of veggie that you like. You could even add mushroom or zucchini just to add a little bit more flavour and depth. Set half an hour timer.
There's already a 30-minute timer, but I can set another. What should I name the new one?
Okay, apparently there's a timer already going. Great. Now we're ready for the blending portion of the recipe. I'm chucking in a handful of spinach, and for this recipe I'm also including 2 sticks of celery. I don't normally put celery in this soup, but I just had some in the fridge, so I chucked her in. Also a teaspoon of garlic powder and just a very heaped pinch of nutritional yeast, which, as most of you know, is my favorite thing in the world. And I just want to say that this smells so delicious. Nothing makes me happier than the smell of roast vegetables. So what you're seeing here is B trying very hard to spoon the veggies into the blender. It was taking way too long, so we just wrapped her up and chucked her in. Nothing in the kitchen ever goes as planned. The blender was actually having a really hard time blending all the ingredients together, and light bulb moment, I realized I didn't actually put the almond milk in. But once I realized my mistake and threw in the almond milk, things actually got going really quickly. Yeah, so good. The amount of milk in this recipe really depends on the portion of vegetables. In this particular instance, I used about half a cup of almond milk, but you can use more or less depending on how thick you like your soup. I then went in to add a little bit of water into the blender once I put the soup onto the stove, just to help thin it out. The extra water in the blender also helps clean it out. You're welcome. This is good.